Episode 38, Should I Go to a Conference?
Welcome to Creative Success. Fueling success with creativity. It's the Creative Success Podcast with Gers. Designed to build inspiration for life. Delivering the messages and ideas for today.
And I'm Gers. What can we create together today? In this episode, creators, I'm sharing what happened at the conference I just got back from, Podcast Movement 2016. I'll share with you some stories, some laughs, and most importantly, how to maximize an event or conference, all to help you fuel your success with creativity.
Hey creators, my name is Jesse Belvin, the founder of Seven Figure Dad, and you're listening to the Creative Success Show with Gers.
Ba-boom! Thank you, Jesse, for that awesome introduction. And today's episode, creators, is brought to you by CreativeSuccessShow.com. For the complete show notes and transcription to this episode, come on over to CreativeSuccessShow.com/38. I had a great time at Podcast Movement 2016, and I am super excited to share everything that happened. But before we get to that, I want you to share this episode right now. The growth of this podcast, Creation Nation, everything that we're doing together, because we are doing it together, is because of awesome creators like you. You share, people find the podcast, and they subscribe. It's as easy as that. And it's as easy as you taking 2 seconds right now to share this episode to Twitter or Facebook right from the podcast app on your phone. But of course, the best place to share this episode is right on the complete show notes page at CreativeSuccessShow.com/38. We have got clickable links to share a number of messages and quotes from this episode right there. And of course, those dynamic sharing buttons make it really easy for you to share this message, this episode, to your favorite social channel. Maybe you're not on social, or you just stalk people there. And that's cool, no judgments. You can also share the episode by shooting your friend, family member, or colleague an email. That's all right there as well. I greatly appreciate you sharing the show, which also makes me jump for joy, because you sharing the show has had a direct impact on one of my favorite things about this entire podcast, the creator roll call. I've got some super big time love going out to my Toronto creators, my Tacoma, Washington creators, the creators down in Florida and back up to Virginia. And the special shout out goes to my creators holding it down in Japan. That is so cool, creators, and I appreciate you all for tuning in, listening to the show, and sharing the crap out of it. It really means a lot to me. But enough with the sappiness for now. Let's get into today's episode. In entrepreneurship, business, marketing, and even if you're a teacher like my wife or my mom, one question remains. Should I go to a business, marketing, or entrepreneur conference? What about a podcast conference, like my recent adventure to Podcast Movement? The question isn't, should I go to a conference? The question is, which conference should I go to? Going to a conference or event is serious, and here is the level of seriousness that I'm talking about. Dozens and dozens of the hundreds of attendees at Podcast Movement don't even have their own podcast yet. They're still in the brainstorming, masterminding, and figuring shit out phase. But why would someone who doesn't yet have a podcast go to a podcasting conference? Whether it's a business conference, marketing conference, entrepreneur conference, or a podcast conference, going to conferences can result in a big upgrade. Many upgrades, in fact. Like for starters, an upgrade in your knowledge, network, and entrepreneurial direction. Now, regardless if you're into underwater basket weaving, snake charming, writing, or internet marketing, going to conferences or events specific to what you're doing in life and business is massively valuable. Let's discuss. First, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed myself in Chicago. My only regret, not booking more time to do more stuff outside of Podcast Movement 2016. Checking out the beautiful city of Chicago, going to the lake, and maybe even going to a Cubs game. We did stay at the enormous 2,000-room Hyatt Regency in downtown Chicago. This hotel sported multiple sets of escalators, huge conference rooms, multiple restaurants and bars. And yes, creators, that was all within the hotel. Escalators in the hotel. I did have one complaint, though, in the restaurant, and it's a funny story. At least it is to me, but we'll see what you think. As my Podcast Movement partner in crime read me the menu, we noticed a trend, an interesting trend with the ham. Ham was a frequent flyer on the menu, but not just any old pig ass. Off the bone ham. And distinguishing that their ham was off the bone seemed pretty important to whoever was writing that menu. Fast forward, I'm about to order my omelet. Nonchalantly, I asked the waiter a couple questions before asking the big one. That meat omelet sounds pretty good, but I need to know, is that ham, is that off the bone? Yes, sir, it is. Oh, okay then, I'll have that. Not knowing that I was going to say that, my homegirl about spit up her drink all over the waiter. All while this creator remained straight-faced. He walked away, she hit me, and then told me what happened. I about lost it. I totally wasn't expecting that. Creators, what can I say? You've got to be on your toes with me. Who knows what I might say when the opportunity presents itself? You've got to have fun, crack jokes, and live a little, right? What's the point of living if you're not having fun doing it? Back to my complaint, though. The food was bland, really bland. It was as close to tasteless as nearly tasteless food could get. So, I needed some hot sauce to stimulate my bored, senseless taste buds. I guess they've gotten rid of the flavor and the ham bone at the same time. After our meal was over, the bill came. It was time to get back to the crowds. All right, so I guess I had two complaints, creators. For a black coffee, one omelet, plus tax, at the Hyatt Regency downtown in Chicago, any guesses, creators? What do you think that went for? An amazing $27. I couldn't believe it. A tasteless omelet in Chicago with a black coffee went for nearly $30 fucking dollars. That was before the tip, mind you, so it was $30. At least the ham was off the bone. Back to Podcast Movement 2016. I'm still relatively young in my podcasting journey. Okay, technically, I'm still a podcasting baby. And it might surprise you to know my number one goal wasn't around podcasting or improving my podcast as much as it was networking. Networking will be so powerful for you creators. It will help you in ways that you wouldn't believe. Growing your business, overcoming hurdles, opening doors, getting published, and so much more. That's why I published 2 entire episodes about building your network on social media prior to this post, so that you can start building your network even if you can't get to an event or conference in the near future. And even if you already started building your network on social, hashtag you better have, I highly recommend you doubling down and get to a conference or event ASAP. Make it happen, creators. Here are some of the things that I did and what you too can do at conferences. Connecting with individuals, asking questions, figuring out what they're doing, what's working for them, and how you can leverage what they're successfully doing, like what's been their best strategy for email list building, then implementing the same or a very similar strategy in your own business, like how the hell another attendee published 2 books last year and is a single parent. You can also ask about which social networks are providing the most ROI and which ones aren't. What strategies are being used on those channels? Is it hashtags, tagging, images, a combination of things? Learning what isn't working or what's no longer working is also huge, creators. You know what else is huge? Not that, creators. I'm talking mastermind opportunities. Because conferences are beautiful wonderlands of opportunity to mastermind strategies. Having dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of like-minded individuals to bounce your strategies off of, and you getting a consensus on those ideas is gold. Pure gold, I tell you. Because sometimes our businesses, our books, our podcasts, they are our babies. They're so beautiful, so perfect, so amazing in every single way. We become blinded. We can't see the flaws. But then you start talking through them with other professionals, other entrepreneurs like you, creators, and you start realizing the holes. Why this or that isn't going to work. That glaring thing that you never saw before. And you'll hopefully find the awesomeness you would have never have realized is so awesome. #breakthrough. All of these new strategies, thoughts, ideas, perspectives, and connections are just some of the ways conferences give you something special, something to take home, and things that can take you to the bank. And we've barely scratched the surface on networking benefits. Let me tell you what happened on the last day of the event. Michael O'Neill has a successful business that he's built around the value he delivers on his podcast 3 days a week. The man straight up crushes podcasting, and I am definitely a fan. His show, The Solopreneur Hour, can be found at solohour.com. Due to a change in plans, though, I had to split from my podcast movement partner in crime. But I did hook up with another podcaster on Friday that I ended up connecting with through social media. Hint, hint, creators. And a group of us went to lunch. If I hadn't been building my network on social before the conference, I would have been shit up a creek. #build your network on social. Then, guess what happened over lunch? We started exchanging what I've been talking about this entire post. What's working, what's not, and then the mini mastermind sessions got going. I was flexing my creativity muscle, providing value through a new lens, a new perspective, and coming up with ideas that they hadn't yet thought of. And they reciprocated that value, helping me with feedback, knowledge, and their experience. I met a ton of great people at Podcast Movement, but that lunch, the time away from the actual event, was my favorite moment of the entire trip. It's about relationships, creators. It's about providing value when and where you can. It's about networking, making new friends, and having a great time doing what I love. And I'm going to now be better able to serve you. Did I learn anything, though, from actually sitting in on a presentation? The big aha moment. It came to me during one presentation discussing monetization strategies. He discussed various ways that he was getting creative monetizing his show, and he recommended that we do the same. How can I provide additional value to my audience? That's you, creators. Not just things to sell to Creation Nation, but to provide value, provide resources, and a greater bond within the community. That's why I'm in the process of getting the creative resources page up on the site, where I'll be sharing with you everything that I do, use, and tap into to make it all work. To make my business, my ongoing education, my social media, and everything else run as smooth as it does. Could my business run smoother, more efficient? Well, yeah. I guess that's a hell yeah. And I'm taking the steps to make that happen. Like realizing that I'm only one man doing the job of about 5 people. So I started implementing some pretty cool resources to minimize the time that I'm doing some things, while maintaining and now even growing in those areas that I'm actually spending less time on. It's magical. And 10 years ago, it was magical. But today, it's just me leveraging knowledge and resources. Speaking of time, I've also hired on a virtual assistant, and I've really enjoyed working with this VA team. If everything goes smooth over the next month of August, I'll confidently share that resource with Creation Nation. which is important to note, creators, because I will only share with you, I will only recommend the things that I use, endorse, and enjoy, the things that really help me move my business. I will not recommend anything that I do not support, that I do not believe in, that I do not trust 100%. That's the bottom line. Now, will I make a small commission on some of these things? Yes for some, no for others, but that's not the point. The point is transparency. To be transparent about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it so that you can do more, be more, and create more in your life. I am very proud about this big step in my business, and I'll be even more proud when I hear from you how those tools, resources, and information helped you launch your business, finish and publish your book, or make your first buck online. Or just doing whatever it is that makes you happy, creators. You know, those dreams. It is possible, creators. It's possible for you. And now it's even more possible that I'm being openly transparent about everything that I'm doing in my business. Now, creators, if you have any questions about making an investment in your business, or you're unsure about which direction to go, know that you are not in this alone. I am here to help. That's another part to this whole support system that I call the Creative Success Show. So reach out, ask, and I'll share what I believe is best for you, your situation, and your business. Remember, creators, what can we create together today? So who do you know that could benefit from meeting other like-minded individuals? Do us all a favor right now and share this. Do it right from the podcast app on your phone, sharing this to Twitter or Facebook, as well as on the complete show notes page at creativesuccessshow.com/38. We've got a number of quotes and ideas from this episode as clickable links right there on the show notes page. So you can click them, share them, and help another creator out. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that social love, how much I appreciate you spending time with me here today. And until next time, I am Tanner Gers, your partner in conferences and creative success.